Tonight's episode is sponsored by our good friends at Vape and Ape, where they want to evolve the way you experience cannabis.
With state-of-the-art hardware and 100% cannabis-derived formulations, these high terpene extract disposables will get you where you need to go.
And make sure you check out this summer's limited edition strain, Tropicana Cookies and Gelato Dream.
And also for you rosin lovers, Vape and Ape does a limited drop of hash rosin disposables each month.
And right now, they are running a collab with Peachy's Purple Milk.
So find yourself a retailer at www.vapeandape.com/store-locator.
And check out their Instagram page at vapin__ape.
Welcome, fellow lushes. Come on in, pull up a bar stool, and enjoy some cocktails with Dimples and the Beard.
Welcome back to another episode of Cocktails with Dimples and the Beard. We got to make this fast. Our guest is in the waiting room, and
that's one of the funniest things ever.
Abort!
I fucking chuckle every time I do it, and I say it.
William Montgomery, the goat.
Let me open the tabby. You run.
Probably not the goat.
Not the goat yet, but he's working his way to be the goat. So
he talked about being in Appleton, Wisconsin on this episode of Kill Tony, but he didn't mention us. Thanks, William.
William.
Anyway.
Come on, buddy.
Yeah.
I thought we were tight. Either way, here's our interlog. We're just gonna tell William how great he is, and you can tell us how great we are by leaving a comment. Don't subscribe. Subscribe, comment, share, comment. No, you know what? I still like the point. Now my finger's up my butt. All right, let's go. Let's go.
Prove it.
Sick fucker.
I'll edit that.
Why would we? Hey, let's not leave a pretty lady waiting. There's our shortest intro ever.
People are so happy right now. So without further ado, Jacquie Somerville, best-selling author and passion coach.
And there she is. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Jacquie. How are you?
Good. I'm very well. How are you?
We are fantastic. We are rushing around, flying here because somebody... No, I'm just kidding. We're good.
It's possible. That's fine. It's not crude, but so happy to have you. How are you?
Thank you. I'm great. Hey, we're not live, are we?
We are not live. No.
Oh, good.
And there are no rules. Say what you feel what you say.
And at the end, cool. At the end, if there's anything that you'd look back upon and say, edit out, we can, but
we don't.
No.
You're stuck with it. Yeah. You're stuck with it. Yeah.
So it's Dean and
Kevin.
And Kevin.
Yeah.
And it's Kevin's on the right. And what does that t-shirt say, Dean?
Boobies make me smile.
My guy would like that.
I think a lot of guys like that.
Right. But do boobies make you smile at all?
I love boobs, yes.
Who doesn't? How can you not?
Right? It's a universal shirt. They're wonderful. Anyway, we're joined by Jacquie Somerville, best-selling author and passion coach.
And booby lover.
Thank you so much for joining us. We've had like a string of, well, not a string of, but we've had some coach type people on. We just had Sarah Siobhan on, a dating coach, because this guy is entering the dating world. So
back. I mean, it's not my first time. I've dated prior.
Yes. Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear it.
Because we don't want to be like, yep, I blew 40-year virgin out of the water.
So Sarah can help him with the dating, and you can help him with the passion.
Right. Yes. Although I do a lot of dating coaching too. It all goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get into that because we're excited because your specialty is dating older women. So correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, younger men who want to date older women. Look, that's just become a thing. I've been doing a lot of love and sex and romance coaching before that video kind of went viral. So I used to mostly work with women, and now it seems to be mostly men. So it's kind of shifted just because the audience kind of came to me, you know.
Sure.
Well, that's a good thing, right? I mean, let's train those ape men out there that are just like, me want woman, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. And this whole younger man, older women thing has become, well, it's obviously not become a phenomenon. It always has been, but it's kind of out in the wild, so to speak. We now talk about it, and it's become more obvious to people that it's a phenomenon.
Yeah.
And there's lots of reasons for that, but it's sexually compatible. Women in their 40s and 50s and men in their 20s and 30s, the sexual compatibility is pretty great.
Yeah, for sure. So before we go too much farther forward, I want to get the backstory. How did Jacquie Somerville become a best-selling coach and best-selling author, excuse me, and passion coach?
Such a convoluted thing, so I'll keep it very brief. My degree is actually in agriculture. I'm a farmer by trade. Most people really don't believe me, but it's true.
Okay.
No, but that's
interesting.
That's sexy right off the bat.
Overalls are sexy.
Nothing else. Go ahead.
Yeah. I grew up on a South African farm, and so wanted to make sure that I could keep the lifestyle that I'd grown up in, and I loved it very much. I was a horse girl, completely obsessed with horses. And so I just followed in my dad's footsteps. He'd done agriculture at university. And so I went and did that, thinking that I would be in that industry. And cut a long story short, after I left university, I traveled around the world and fell in love with America, wanted to live in America permanently. Didn't have a way of doing that legally, but it was a dream that was planted. And I don't know about you guys, but I just believe that when you have a dream and you believe it's going to happen one day, even if you don't know how, somehow it happens. And so here I am. I live in California, close to the beach, and it's like, how could this have ever happened? I mean, I was a 7th generation South African, and I mean, it just wasn't, it wasn't logically in the cards, but it happened. And so yeah. And I spent 10 years, I moved to Canada first, and I spent 20 years living in Canada. And during that time, got into a 10-year relationship with an older man.
Okay.
He was 20 years older than me. And
you didn't mess around with that first one. Wow. 20 years is a big gap. Okay.
It is a big gap. So he was a wealthy man. And so he wanted me to quit my job and so that I could travel and help him out and be a full-time sort of support person and run our homes and all of that, which I did. And it was wonderful for the time that it lasted. But I ended up just feeling very frustrated that I didn't have my own gig going, that I knew I had talent. I knew I wanted to write books. I knew that I was a good storyteller and that my life had been a pretty big story already. And I loved talking about it. And so I just started to feel like, oh, my God, there's something more in me. I need to do something with my life. Anyway, the relationship ended after 10 years, and I was seeking passion and purpose and bought myself a winter home in the California desert and was going back and forth for a little while and fell in love with a younger American man.
And if it's the same story, I think I heard in the cheese section.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
He picked me up when I was picking up cheeses for a dinner party in the grocery store.
Well, we're in Wisconsin.
Cheese? Yeah, there you go.
In Wisconsin, so cheese is so close to our heart that story just rings like that's where I try to pick up all my ladies, because if they're picking out like a good gorgonzola, I know they're
What
that's great.
What cheese brought you two together?
I would say it was probably Gruyere.
Oh, okay.
Nice one as well.
I came aged.
Yes. Yeah, aged like yourself,
like a fine wine, a fine woman. Exactly. Yeah,
so
perfect.
Exactly.
So how much younger was this man?
17 years younger.
Okay.
And
now, have you ever dated anybody that's the same age as you?
Yes, I think I have. Let me think.
I'm gonna say
it's either way up here.
Yeah, if she hasn't, she can't help me because I'm your age.
No, actually, the man I'm with, who is my great love, is 2 years younger than I am, so much closer in age.
Oh, okay.
And it's all good. No, it's all good. Look, it's not about the age, as we know. It's about all the other things and stuff. So anyway, that just was just the way it happened, and I got married to him in Las Vegas. Elvis walked me down the aisle of the Graceland Chapel, and it was fantastic.
That's the greatest way to get married.
Oh, I'm jealous.
I am too.
I'm jealous.
Fun.
Big Elvis fans. So
yeah.
Oh yes, and this guy had an incredible voice, and all the impersonator. He was amazing. It was such a great day.
Was your husband an Elvis fan as well?
Yeah, I think he was. Look, he just loves all music, and so it just. I had always wanted to get married in Vegas one day. It was just a thing. I thought, God, I'd been married before, and I'd had the big white meringue and the church wedding and all of that, and I wasn't going to do that again.
Yeah.
Okay. And because we were from two different countries, he was American and I was Canadian, I couldn't live here with him permanently anyway. So we had to get married and make it legal in order to even live in the same house for more than 6 months of the year. So so I said, okay, well, if I'm going to get married, it's going to be fun and it's going to be in Vegas.
So this was all your idea. And
yes, but I mean, he was going along with it because every time I had to go back to Canada, he'd be like, we should just get married. And I said, are you crazy? We only just met. This is wild. There's a big age difference. It's, his background was so radically different from mine. He kind of came from the wrong side of the tracks. He'd been in a little trouble. And I was like, no, that is insane. And I said, we've only known each other a few months. He said, we've got a whole lifetime to get to know one another. And I thought that must be from that country music that he loves so much that he got that line.
It probably does, but yeah, smooth play it right there.
Yeah.
So you got married in Vegas, and he's currently your husband.
Well, that's a very long story. Yeah, he's a different guy to this one, but
okay, because I heard that 17 years and the 2 years, so I think
there was a horrendous accident and a lot of sorrow and bad stuff that happened as a result of the accident, and so it just that's what happened, and I don't really get into that. I tell that on the stage and stuff, but but it's always, love is always worth it. Sometimes it hurts, but it is always worth it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got. I'm not saying you got hurt from both those relationships, meaning the one extreme to the one way and one the extreme to the other, and now you're kind of in the middle. But you're still on the path that either way you get hurt, it's still worth falling in love and giving it a whirl. Yeah.
I mean, there's that famous quote from Alfred Lord Tennyson that says it's better to have loved and lost. It's become such a cliche, but it came from a really beautiful poem, than to never have loved at all. And I am a full believer in that 100%. And when we talk about passion, I mean, as you mentioned, I'm a passion coach. And Napoleon Hill writes about this in his famous book, Think and Grow Rich, right? And the sex transmutation chapter, that this incredible power that we have from harnessing our desire for love and sex and romance, and that that great passion can continue to motivate and inspire us long after it's gone. And it's interesting how when I'm writing and stuff, my younger man, the one I married in Las Vegas, is still my muse for that.
Okay.
So it's really interesting how that passion continues to inspire me creatively. And we can really access our creative genius when we allow ourselves to fall in love and look at it as having been a wonderful thing, even if it ended.
Yeah. What did falling in love with the younger man do for you to that he's still your muse? I mean, how does that,
Yeah, well, because it was just so passionate.
Okay.
And it's that fiery passion that I access. And it was, I don't know if you've heard people talking about twin flames versus soulmates.
No.
I'm not sure. Yeah, some people, I mean, I'm not sure if I buy into it, but it's an interesting concept.
You ever heard of that? I
haven't.
I would love to hear about it, though.
Yeah, just that some people that you fall in love with, it's a twin flame, and others are a soulmate. And a twin flame is often extremely fiery, sometimes doesn't last, but it is this unbelievable passion. And then on the other hand, you could fall in love with somebody who's more like your soulmate, more steady, more secure, more a deeper sort of friendship, as it were, as well as obviously romance.
Sure.
And so he was definitely my twin flame in that context.
Oh, okay.
It was just so passionate. And so what did it do for me? Well, it really sort of lit me up and made me feel so on fire and so inspired, and access parts of me that I hadn't before. Going back to Think and Grow Rich and the power of passion in that regard, that's to go back to your original question of the background. I wrote a best-selling book from cover to cover in 5 weeks because I was so high on love and passion with him.
Wow.
And so I accessed that, as Napoleon Hill calls it, you access your zone of genius when you can harness this incredible thing of love and passion. And it's interesting how I learned that when you look at a lot of the most successful, and it's mostly the studies are done on men at this point, but so many of the most successful men in human history have been inspired by their passionate love for a woman who was more like their muse. And you can look at Josephine, Napoleon and Josephine, where, he was passionately in love with Josephine, but because she couldn't have babies, he ended up getting rid of her and swapping her for somebody who could have children, but who he wasn't passionate about, and his defeat soon followed.
Yeah.
There are lots of examples. I mean, you can see how men are willing to destroy their lives over passion. It's that powerful. And
well, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we
So
like
we
to
can
call
really
it the power of
utilize
the pussy.
Well, I was gonna say, I was going back to better to have loved and lost. Well, every time I go to a strip joint, I fall in love. So I've loved many, many times through my life.
Yeah, well, that's good. I'm glad to hear it, because I do think that love is love, even if it's for one night or a weekend.
Yeah.
I believe
Or for a
it's
20-minute lap dance.
Yes, I listen. You can have a deep connection that feels like love in that moment, where it's another human being.
I fell in love with her.
Thanks, hella Hot Wheels.
Thanks, hella Hot Wheels. We were born to be together. Anyways, on a serious side, listening to your thing, your passion and the twin flame. So I got 2 questions. Can you have the thought have more than one twin flame person in your lifetime?
Not at the same time, Kevin.
Damn
it. Unless they're into that.
Then it's okay. So I'll let you answer that one first. Is that, because I've never heard of the twin flame before. So is that a thing? Or?
Like I said, I'm not a huge expert on it. It's just something that I've been sort of made aware of. But I believe you can. Like, I don't see why not. Yeah. But here's the thing, is that most people never experience it. This is what I've learned from doing my one-woman show and traveling all over North America speaking. And all of that is that so many people in their 50s, 60s, I mean, beyond, have never experienced great passion.
Yeah.
Which is
and
sad.
I feel like that's a shame.
Yeah.
But I also think it's not 100% guaranteed that it's going to happen to anyone. But I do think that you have to put yourself out there and be open to it. And so many people are terrified to be hurt that they don't say yes to a situation that's uncertain. They want certainty, and there's no such thing in the world anyway.
Yeah.
And they miss out on the best experiences of their lives by being afraid to open their hearts, even if it's for a weekend.
Right. They're scared to get hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not knowing that, to your point, it's better to throw it out there and get hurt than just sit home and next thing you know, I'm ready to die and I have never felt that passion. So
exactly right.
So exactly I think the biggest advice to anybody out there listening is just go for it.
Keep going for it.
Yes.
Continue. Yep. Good point. Continue to go for it.
Yes, continue to go for it and see everything in the past as having been just necessary and, meant to be. Like, that's how I look at every relationship that ended. Siri thinks I spoke to her. That's how I look.
Wants your attention.
Yeah, exactly. It's unnerving when you get the speaker answering you when you don't ask it a question. What were we saying?
Well, I've heard you talking a little bit about dating apps. And like I said, we got this guy starting the dating world.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people talk fondly of the dating apps, but I've heard you talk.
I know.
I've heard you talk fondly of them and talk about why not. I mean, yes, probably a vast majority of them are going to end up disastrous, but some of them are going to end up great. So, and you don't know that unless you try it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I met my guy there. He doesn't like me saying that. He tells everyone he met me on the beach, but that's fine.
Met on the app, but we went to the beach. So we met on the beach.
And of course, I've helped a lot of, especially women, have success in the dating app world by helping them write their profiles and select their photographs and be smart at how they play the game. I do look at it as a game. You have to approach it as a game, not a serious thing. And you have to approach it as, I'm just going to have a little fun with this. And I'm going to know that the majority of people on here aren't going to be great. And I'm not looking for perfect anyway. I'm just going to have a little fun and see where it leads. And that's the best way to approach it. But yeah, you have access to millions of people you wouldn't otherwise have access to. So why not?
Yeah.
Okay. And 9 times out of 10, you meet somebody that lives 2 miles down the road that you never met. And you're like, damn, thank God for the app.
Right. And if nothing else, you might get a night or two of great sex.
Oh,
because I've been on the apps and it happens.
Yes, exactly.
When you wear them down enough, they give in.
14 dick pics later. It was fine.
No with the dick pics, you guys. No with the dick pics.
Damn it. I shouldn't lead with that. So where do you feel is the most successful dating app that you've seen in your coaching?
Look, I always get my clients on Tinder because you got the majority of people on there. And my big thing with women is men must reach out first. Okay. This is a big thing for me. And so I do not go the Bumble route because I do not believe that a woman must reach out first. It's your first sign that a man is a man and that he knows what he wants and he goes for it. If he reaches out and says, hey, you know, how's your day or whatever, just some inane thing is fine, just to start the conversation. Yeah. And that's super important, I think, for a woman to be able to see right off the bat what kind of person she's dealing with.
Yeah.
Do you see any difference in, because Tinder's, well, I'll call it free, as opposed to the...
Tinder's not free.
Oh, it's not anymore?
Well, there are free, but you can pay for it as well.
Okay. I guess my point is you have some of those higher expensive apps to kind of weed out on both sides, you know, the ones that are just trying to get lucky. Have you ever seen any correlation between the higher paid apps bring more love connections as opposed to hookups?
Oh my gosh, no, I haven't. And I'll tell you why. I see so many people investing because they start to get desperate, not only on the paid apps, but on matchmakers and stuff. They spend tens of thousands of dollars in the hopes. And I don't believe that's necessary. I really don't. It's all about our energy and how we are being in the world. And it's not about how much money you spend on desperately trying to find somebody. And I do, though, encourage people to go with Tinder Gold or upgrade it a little bit, because that way, when I was on there, I didn't want to have to just wade through everybody. I only wanted to check out who had already liked me. Yeah. And then I didn't have to waste my time, you know, on thousands and thousands of other people.
Well, Jacquie, I have to assume if you're on Tinder, there's still thousands and thousands of likes you had to sort through.
Yes, I must say I did. My gay best friend used to get very upset with me. He's like, how come I only have 5 and you have 5,000?
Yeah.
Like, maybe because you're on the wrong app,
right?
That's true.
Well,
yeah,
they got one for they have one for the gay guy now too.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's but I do recommend Tinder Gold, and for a couple of reasons. You can also hide your age, which for an older woman I think is often necessary, because not because there's something wrong with being your age, but because people will jump to a conclusion that you are a certain way just by seeing that number there. And you know, I never related to the number that I was anyway, and I didn't want anybody else to. I wanted them to see me for me.
Like I said, that's very important for this one too, because this is the youngest 57-year-old man I've ever known. He acts like a 12-year-old. So
fantastic.
So
I won't lie. Every time I go, and I haven't done a lot, but the few times I went into the dating apps, I always subtract 10 years.
Well, that was my question. What advice do you give to somebody who's of that age, but clearly needs to date somebody younger than him?
Yeah.
You know, it's very rare that he's going to run into somebody in his age group that's
on my silliness level.
Yes. Right.
Look, I do think it's more important for a man to have his age there, and I do think it's a good idea to have your age there. There's less of a judgment in society about it, and it's very accepted and normal for a younger woman to be with an older man than it is the other way around. So I wouldn't be concerned. There is no negative perception of a man's age as there is for women.
But what about the girls who are going to filter out guys who are above 50? You know what I mean?
Just
right from the start.
I don't want them anyways.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, but the app behind the scenes still has your real age.
Okay.
So you wouldn't be shown to those people.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, but when I set up my profile and I lie about my date of birth is what I'm talking about.
Right, exactly.
That's a good way to start a relationship.
I would never recommend that, but hey.
But yeah, I mean, then you just against me right off the bat. Bad. Got it.
So just set it as younger and you know, it's just select your age group according to your desires, and that's
okay. So I put my true age in there, and I'm not ashamed of it.
Should be.
Exactly.
57. 47.
Perfect.
And then I put in the range. I mean, this is 18 to 29. Now I'm coming off as a creep. Am I not?
Yes.
Yes, I think stick with your cocktail, ladies, if that's your thing.
Yes. I mean, what? Okay, that's a good point. How low can a 57-year-old man go without it being creepy?
And to be fair, I've never put 18 in my thing.
Yeah, well, that's good, because I was going to say, if I have to tell him, I think he's already far gone.
Yeah,
right. I've never, no. And I don't want to deal with that. But anyways.
No, exactly right. I think one just has to be responsible about it and say, okay, well, listen, I want everybody from 28 to 48 or to 40 or to 38 or whatever, you know.
Okay.
That reminds me, you have a lot of sayings. The life is too short for boring sex, but I also heard you say be responsible but not sensible, which I think is fantastic.
Oh my God, Dean, I love how you've all my favorite things are coming out. Thank you for
and that's it just reminded me of it when you're like, be responsible, but you know, you want to have some fun with it, right?
Exactly. A sensible life is a boring life. And one of the biggest things I teach people that I coach about fear and not letting it stop you. But I always say that there is one fear that I think is actually a very good fear, and that's the fear of regret. It's my biggest fear, and it drives me. I never, ever want to get to the end of my day going, oh, shit, well, I never really lived all out. I never gave up my all in all ways. And being responsible but not sensible is a sensible life will lead you down a very ordinary path, a very mundane path, but you have to be responsible if you're going to throw sensibility to the wind. And what I mean by that is, for example, if you're going to go out and have a nice party and drink too much or party too hard or whatever it is you do, sometimes that's essential. We got to let our hair down and have some fun. But the responsible side of that is never, ever, ever drinking and driving.
All right.
It's not necessarily sensible to have a one-night stand and you know, have a short-term fling or whatever. But the responsible way of doing that is to make sure that you tune into your intuition, so you stay safe and you listen to your spidey senses and you wrap it up.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
So this is what I mean about the difference. It wasn't sensible for me to marry my 29-year-old in Las Vegas after only knowing him a few months when I was 46, but being responsible was getting him to sign an ironclad prenup. Right? I could go on with examples, but you know what I mean.
I love it. You know, it's so rare you hear that coming from the lady. It's always the guy talking about the prenup. I'm like, Jesus Christ, good for you.
But you're thanking it yourself today, right? That you did.
Exactly. I mean, it's always a wise thing to do.
Yeah. Well, unless you're broke, then you don't have to worry about it. I don't think you got to worry about the prenup.
If you're broke, you're like, no, I won't sign that one. Before we get too far, I want to just quick touch back on the two flames thing and your soulmate, so to speak. And what I want to ask you about that is, so you're moving on, and between your 29-year-old Vegas wedding and then your current love, between there, I'm assuming you've dated some. Was there any jealousy from any of them? They're like, to hear you talk about your muse and your passion for someone else that will never go away. Did that hinder any relationships because of jealousy men can have?
Oh, that's a great question, Kevin. Yeah. Yes. I mean, it was very obvious that there were some guys that I dated for whom it was a big problem. And it was very difficult for me to tell them the story because it was such a convoluted, crazy story anyway. But I was speaking at an event in LA and telling the story to the audience, not in full detail, but talking about the benefits of passion and therefore telling that story of him. And the guy that I was dating at the time was there and he listened to it. And when I came off the stage, he just said, wow, like I have never thought about passion like that. I feel motivated and inspired. So it was interesting how his whole view of everything changed when he heard me delivering the speech and teaching others about passion. He started to think about it differently. And he said, it made me like really think about passion in my own life. And so that was incredible. But I do think for most of them, it was difficult. And it was, I was very not apprehensive, but I knew I had to be quite strategic about how I told my man who I'm with now about it. And we'd been dating about a month and we went away for the weekend and we were going to a party of friends of mine who'd known me before. And I thought it might come out, something might come out and this better be my thing. So I talked to him about it in such a way. And then I ended up reading him a chapter in my book that I'd written about it because that way it was super clear. I'd spent a lot of time writing it in a certain way. And he just had tears in his eyes and he just took me in his arms and he said, I really like who you are. Oh, and it was so amazing. Yeah. And he has said to me numerous times, it's such a love story.
Yeah.
It's such an incredible love story and no one can deny that.
Yeah. And it's okay to have more than one love story in your life.
And no one should take it away from you.
Yeah. So he is truly remarkable about it and continues to be. And I've got so much love and respect for him, for many reasons, but that's a big one, obviously.
So now
it made you love him more, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
sorry, go ahead.
The fact that he gets me, right? I mean, I could tell that he really gets me when you don't judge me for something that I've done that felt right to me at the time, that was a beautiful thing in my life, even though it doesn't seem it to other people. And you really get that. That is love. That's non-judgment. That's just such an amazing thing that your person in life has that level of connection. That's it. Yeah. That's what you're looking for.
So do you consider him now to be both the twin flame and the soulmate?
Yes. I mean, we are very sexually compatible.
Yeah.
And so we have great sex and we do have that passion in that sense. And then we have this amazing soulmate relationship, hanging out with him and just doing things with him and working out with him and running with him and playing in the beach. And it's just so much fun. I've never had more in common with a man that I've dated before. Yeah. And I never realized that was actually a thing, but it's so much fun to do those sorts of things together. And then we have the sexual compatibility. So, it's different for some reason, and I can't quite put my finger on it, but it is absolutely wonderful.
Well, I love the sound of it because I just recently got married for the third time.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you. And I finally feel like
on the last one, not the other two.
Here, this is what I want to say. The first one I feel was like a twin flame. That was somebody that the second one we're not going to mention. And the third one is both. And I finally, now I have both, somebody who the sex is fantastic and we just love being together, just letting the world go away and just being together, which is such a wonderful thing. I've never had a female like that in my life where I was like, I don't care what the boys are doing. I just, so.
Yes.
So it's cool.
Yes. Isn't it great? It's so great that, we have that exact thing. And it's really, really wonderful.
So how many times have you had we'll just say on both sides, great, I want to more than compatible sex, great sex, but not the passionate or the hanging out part, or vice versa. You hung out great, but the sex wasn't so good. So is a sex a deal breaker? Was that a deal breaker when you're with your new man that you really enjoy being with?
Yeah, sex is definitely a deal breaker. Sexual compatibility is so much more important than people think.
I agree.
Yeah. And so, yes, I have coached way too many people who don't have a sexual relationship anymore with their spouse or their partner, and the resentment that builds, and it just creates this giant divide, and it becomes this gorilla in the room because nobody really wants to talk about it, which is so crazy as well. And then the resentment just builds and builds and builds. And so sexual compatibility and keeping it alive is so important in a relationship. So I would say that's probably my answer to that. Does that answer your question?
It does, and I'm with you. But it seems like in the past, when I've been dating a girl, and I'm okay with talking about sex. I mean, I have a problem doing that with them, but it's like, well, is that all you think about? And no, it's not. But it is an important part of our relationship because it brings us closer together. I feel it's not the sex part so much; it's the passionate and the intimacy. Thank you, of being with you. And I feel I'm the closest with you during that time, and I still get it's just sex. Well, no, it's not. So
no,
that's
the
why I
ultimate
bring
bonding
it up.
experience. It really is. It's the ultimate bonding experience. And when you push the envelope together and you try new things and you may be a little naughty together, it even makes you even closer, right? And it sort of expands the narrative and the communication between you and so on. But yeah, I think that's your answer right there, Kevin, that's not a woman you need to spend another moment with.
Well,
I think a woman who just goes, no, but I mean, if that happens in the future, and based on the fact that it's happened in the past, just like next, right? I mean, you don't want somebody who's got hangups about it and who doesn't want to talk about it and who judges you for placing importance on it, because it's friggin' important. I see so many marriages crash and burn because they forgot that it was important.
Right. Yes, but it's not the only thing, Kevin.
Yeah, right.
It's not the only thing.
It's not. But so here I'm going to throw this out there, and you let me know as a coach, is that we meet for dinner and we sit down and I say, so how open to you about sex? And that's my opening line. Is that a good thing, or should I wait?
No, you need to wait, Kevin.
Okay. Well, I'm making notes.
You know what? This podcast has given us access to some of the world's greatest coaches. If this guy can't find somebody with all of the all the intelligent women we've had on here helping you,
it's me.
It's never going to happen.
It's definitely he's the common denominator.
He sure is. We're going to get him on Tinder tonight.
Fix up my profile and change my birth date.
No bad bathroom selfies.
Are you?
Wow. Okay.
Are you back on TikTok yet?
That's funny.
Are you still banned from TikTok?
Oh, well, I got another phone, but I haven't really focused on it because I wasn't really too sure what to post, because I'm like, I don't want to be banned. I want to build, I had 150,000 followers, 50 million views, and then they banned me. And it's like, oh, do I really want to build it up again just for that?
Yeah.
To be banned. So I'm sort of a bit gun shy about it, but it's been on my mind to get back at it, because Instagram is kind of,
Instagram is terrible right now. I don't know about you. You probably don't have as difficult of a time, but we cannot grow at all on Instagram. We've been stuck at the amount of followers we've been at for 6 months. It just will not move. So
no, it's very tough right now.
Yeah.
It's very, very tough. They've changed the algorithm. I think they change it on a regular basis. And I don't do anything to chase the algorithm because I think that's a losing game. I think you got to just keep doing what you do and, do it from the heart and make it as authentic as possible. And ultimately, it's going to come around again. That's the only way I look at it, because yes, my engagement is way down. Viewership is way down. The majority of my followers don't see a thing I post. And I'm very loath to complain about it because that's just not my nature. I believe that when we complain about things, we make them bigger. But yeah, it's a phenomenon, and it does cause me to think, well, I shouldn't be focusing on it right now. I should be focusing on something else.
Sure.
Okay. So
yeah,
with that, you're saying about your negative thinking, not yours, but negative thinking does nobody any good. And before, with your whole, I'm gonna be successful. At what point in your life did you start thinking, if I just think positive thoughts, it's going to happen? Or have you always been like that? Or being able to weed out the negativity in your life?
I was born with some kind of delusional optimism. And I'm so grateful for that. When I was a kid, one of my favorite things to do was to ride my horse on my own. My mom used to think I was being mean because I didn't want my brother and sister to come with me. But it was just because my alone time on my horse was when I kind of communed with the universe, call it God, call it the ether, whatever it was. I felt like that whatever I wanted, I could live a charmed life. And that it was all going to be great, always. Okay. And so it wasn't that I was negative and had to try to turn it around. It was that I was positive, and then I became negative because I started to buy into the stories of the world. Life is difficult. It can't all be good. You've got to work your ass off. And I started to buy into that and believe in that. And every time I've done that in my life, I've experienced some major crisis, whether it was a financial crisis or, some other crisis, when I started to let the fear of what could go wrong become my predominant vibration, as it were. And so once you've done that, it's more difficult to turn it around.
Yeah.
But you can, obviously. But I do believe in affirming things, even in the face of them being radically untrue. It's how liars start believing their own lies, because the subconscious mind does eventually buy into whatever you repeat. So why don't we use that for good and just repeat over and over again, even though it's not true at this moment, that your life is getting better every moment, that whatever. I'm a big believer in this. And before I went down this sort of romance, love, sex route, I was coaching, general life coaching, and doing a lot of this kind of motivational stuff.
I got to remember that, because I find myself, I get down on this podcast a lot because, we have ebbs and flows, and we'll be doing well for a while, and then we don't get seen for a while, and and the downs are very hard on me. And I gotta remember that more often, to just kind of,
it's all within your brain.
Lie to myself a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah. Lie to yourself. And it's very difficult to deny the sort of 3D circumstances. It's very difficult, but it is the absolute key to it all, from what I've discovered in my studying. And there's a great book called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. And you don't have to apply it just to money. You can apply it to anything. But it is that the once we have that down, once we can maintain a state regardless of circumstances. Dr. Joe Dispenza is a great teacher on this. Have you ever watched his stuff or read his stuff?
I haven't, no. The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, I mean, he's such a great teacher on this from a scientific standpoint. He really explains it to people who want the scientific explanation for why it works. But he says you have to think greater than you feel. So your feelings are being affected by the podcast numbers being down or not growing. And you let those feelings now affect your thoughts. Now it becomes a spiral, as opposed to saying, this feels really shitty, but I'm going to think a different thought to it. And I'm going to actually, so everything is getting better. Everything is getting better. Even if it's slow, I can feel it's getting better. And you start with those small things. You don't go like straight away to everything is fantastic and I'm rich and the podcast #1 in the world, because you will find that very difficult.
Yeah, right.
You use little bridging things.
So
You use bridging statements.
So lie to yourself. It kind of falls back to be sensible or be responsible, not sensible. Lie to yourself a little bit, but make sure the lies are responsible so that you don't overdo it.
Yes. Otherwise, you will start going, well, this is just bullshit. I don't believe a second of it. And that thought is then going to block everything. Exactly. As opposed to, okay, I can see it getting a little better. I can see it getting a little better. And then one day you'll be like, I can see it friggin' going to number one.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh shit, it got a lot better. You look back and
exactly right. Exactly right.
I don't know that lie is the perfect word, but we get what you're saying, and in that we hate to use the word lie, but so we don't want to lie to ourselves because we don't want to resent it later. But so I'm trying to think in my head a better word than lie, but we gotta just continue to think positive thoughts.
Yeah, which in the face of reality sometimes is a lie, because sometimes you can be on the bones of your ass, but telling yourself that you're on the bones of your ass is not going to help you at all.
Yeah, I think lie is the word is getting a bad rap in this situation. Like,
stand corrected.
Yeah, we don't want to lie to each other, but tell yourself the little fibs, the little white lies that create some positivity.
So maybe it is right. Yeah. Like I said, I couldn't think of a better replacement. So all right, so I stand corrected. Maybe
pretend. Imagine.
Thank you.
Role play if you need.
I like pretend.
Oh, I like role play.
I know you do.
Okay.
And
kids pretend all the time. So, right, there's a 6-year-old kid pretending to be a doctor. I mean, nothing wrong with that, right? So you can be
a 57-year-old guy pretending to be a doctor.
Pretending to be 47.
You're going to start aging backwards. The power of the mind.
And I use that for, and I didn't for any, I don't know why, but I just remember years ago. I mean, obviously getting out of high school, I had no worries and life came on, and there was a, so at a young age, I did get a drunk driving. And I remember at that time going, this is a low point of my life. I'm done. And I kept going, I'm done. But within time, I'm like, well, no, you're not done. You can overcome this. And I remember fighting with myself a lot. And then once I came out, I went, yeah, life is fine. I just got to deal with the consequences and move on. And ever since then, I've been in a pretend fairy tale world with myself.
That is fantastic. It's the best way to live.
I mean, with the fairy tale world that this guy lives in, this podcast is number one. Joe Rogan can
screw you, Joe.
Yes.
Come on, Joe. Come on our podcast, Joe Rogan, and debate me on how much better ours is than yours.
He's also marrying like Angelina Jolie tomorrow. I'm sure.
I'm marrying Ella Hot Wheels.
Ella Hot Wheels. There you go. That's a possibility. She had a thing for you. I'm just saying.
Oh my God. These are some of the women who've been on your podcast.
Yeah,
correct.
Ella Hot Wheels was his birthday present. He just turned 57, and I arranged it. I found her. She was coming to our state, and she is an adult performer who performs on roller skates. And it was like, oh, that's incredible. So I got in contact with her, said, hey, this is what's going on. I want to bring him up for his birthday. He doesn't know what we're doing, so we did the podcast with her, and then we stuck around and watched her do her show and all that good stuff. So it was a fun time.
Wow. Well, fantastic. And happy birthday, Kevin.
Thank you. It was an amazing night, and I appreciate what he did for me about that. And we have to give the shout out to Ella Hot Wheels, because her performance was amazing. She's not just up there taking clothes off and demanding money. She's putting on a show. She's skating. She puts a routine on that it's just a great show to watch, regardless.
Fantastic.
Her naked boobies are just a bonus.
Okay. Back to you.
A beautiful bonus.
And I want to talk a little bit more about the online course, the become irresistible to older men.
To older women.
To older women. I know I wrote it down wrong.
It's for younger men.
It's for younger men. So what can the younger men expect from that course? And let's get some younger men signed up.
Awesome. Well, I'll tell you, the premise behind it, the whole thing behind it is how you feel about yourself is determining your entire life.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of what we were just talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. So what are you going to do to feel better about yourself? because that's what's determining your attractability. And so a lot of what I do is go deep into how they can improve their self-confidence, their self-esteem, how they can start feeling like they're all that. And that way you're going to naturally attract. It's not about necessarily strategies of where to hang out or great pickup lines, although I talk about some of that. Because you could have a great pickup line, one guy delivers it successfully, the other guy falls flat. Why? Because of the way they're being
confident. That's a huge part to, and I'm asking it to a woman, two people, one's confident, one's not. What's more attractive?
Oh my God. Well, confidence wins out in every single bit of research, whether it's men or women. The research bears out that confidence is the #1 attraction factor always across the board.
Yeah.
Is that because the women then feels like if he's confident coming in, now he's going to be confident in his job. He's going to be confident in his lovemaking. He's going to be confident in making me provide for me, things like that. Is that?
Well, aren't you attracted to a confident woman?
Absolutely.
So I'm not sure of the exact reasons, but I would say that confidence just is, because the opposite, when somebody is very insecure, it's so unappealing. And what makes that unappealing? It's just when somebody is not really a fan of themselves, how can you be a fan of them?
Right.
No, but I go through, I listen to Dr. Laura Schlesinger a lot, and she always went through the whole, what do you call it? Prince stage, yep. I see a woman that's not confident, that's down, and I'm going to save her. So men like to save, women. And then once they get to I've saved you, and yeah, now I don't really like you, or I'm not attracted to you anymore because they're not confident. But we have that tendency to save or make situations better. So I guess that's kind of where I'm trying to ask the contrast between the two of them.
Yeah, there's very much that. I think some men are attracted to the damsel in distress and to save them. I think that's a sort of a natural biological thing as well. And people, these sort of gurus who've studied this and the psychologists and the therapists and so on have these theories about things. And I honestly think that it's not necessarily as complicated as all that. We attract whatever it is that we need in that moment, which is why I can look back at every relationship I've ever had with love and forgiveness in my heart. And whether that's forgiveness for themselves or for me, because I know that I was just attracted to somebody and for a reason at the time. Mm-hmm. And I think it's Eckhart Tolle who said that that our relationships are our greatest teachers. And when we are no longer learning, we tend to be over them. And so for me, getting it right, because you are very aware of, oh my God, I'm saving her, or oh my God, I'm this, I think we miss out on life and on what we need by being so clinical about things and being so logical about things, as opposed to, I look at this all and I just go, they were all perfect for the time that they lasted. And clearly I was attracted to them for a reason. Yeah. And I don't believe it's ever a mistake. The only time it's a mistake is if you have red flags and you have intuition and you ignore it. That's a mistake. That's a mistake.
True. Yeah. Well, I've been there.
I've made a mistake or two.
Helping somebody develop their confidence is key to that, because when you're super confident, it means you trust yourself. This is not external confidence. I always say, this is not the kind of confidence that hinges on everything going right. This is the kind of confidence that reassures you will be fine when it doesn't. That's true confidence. Right. And so it's really getting these young guys that are taking the course to develop that level of confidence, not a powerful, I crush people confidence, that deep within confidence. They can go through life complimenting somebody, and if they don't give them the answer they're looking for, they're not crushed by that. Yeah. They carry on. They're not fragile.
Yeah.
In the face of being rejected. All of these things is why confidence is so key. And that's really my biggest goal with the course. It's I call it a quickie course. It's only $37. I mean, it's unbelievable value for money.
You can't afford to not do it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's really great.
You don't want to attract older women though. So
Well, I don't know that.
When we talk about confidence,
I don't know that, right? I mean, maybe.
We talk about confidence. Is the line between confidence and cockiness when the confidence is all external and not internal? Is that kind of where you fall? You know, because
I mean, you can have a guy who gives you who's super cocky on the outside, gives you a great pickup line, and if he was to be rejected, he'll become an asshole about it.
Right.
That's a clear sign that is of somebody who's insecure.
Yeah. Right.
As opposed to somebody who just, looks at the rejection with poise.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's a sign that it's all just puff and nothing deep true about it.
Yeah.
When they fall apart really easily.
Yeah.
Do you find so how long have you been dealing with younger men other than your dating world, coaching them?
It's so fascinating. That video, I was working with women and I was doing business coaching, relationship coaching with women. I was speaking and all of that. And I just sat down. I just had this amazing weekend, actually July 4th weekend a few years ago, with a 24-year-old. And I was 53, I think, at the time.
Yeah, baby.
Wow.
Yeah.
High five. Next time we talk, I'll be saying the same thing back at you.
Yes. No judgment from me. Anyway, it was fantastic. We met in the hot tub of my building, and he was an Ivy League, educated young man, and he stunned me when he asked me for my number, because I was there in the hot tub in my bikini at 52 or 53 and he was 24, and I was like, what? But I'd enjoyed our conversation so much, because one of the things I teach the younger guys in the course is how to converse in a way that you're curious about the other person. You get them to talk, you get them to talk about them, you show interest in them. And he was so good at that. And he was truly, genuinely interested in my life and fascinated by it. And that was super appealing to me. And of course, he was really cute and all of that, which helped.
I assumed, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway.
At any point, did you feel like he was like an interview? Like he was just interviewing you with these like questions, or truly intrigued with you?
No, it was.
And what's the difference?
Well, there was tons of laughter. There was reciprocal communication. There was all of that. So yeah, you can't just pepper someone with questions. You have to be able to actually converse. And so yeah, there was all of that. And ultimately, after sort of going back and forth a little bit, the very next day in the afternoon, he sent me a text and he said, Jacquie, my love, what are you doing? And I said, I'm waiting for you, darling. I said, I'm waiting for you, darling, in the text. And he goes, what? Really? I can come over?
Wait. That feels like that went from confidence to insecurity real quick.
No. I just don't think he expected me to be so direct.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And he probably thought he had to work a little bit harder or big. I don't know. But anyway,
he had already done the work. He had the work
waiting for you, darling. Yeah. Anyway, it was great. And I was feeling so hyped up on it because, like I said, those kinds of encounters, and especially for an older woman with a younger man, there is this youthful vibrancy. It's like what I said in that video that went viral on YouTube. There's this positivity, this youthful vibrancy, this joie de vivre that I find so intoxicating in a younger man. And it was all of that. And we had amazing sex, and he was super attracted to me, which, when you're very desirable to somebody, it boosts your confidence.
Yes.
And so here was this much younger man who was very cute, did really well in his life. Everything was going really great for him. And he wanted to be with me and was attracted to me. Now, that sort of thing really gives us a boost in confidence and gives us a spring in our step, which is why temporary love and a one-night stand can actually be very, very beneficial. It's not for everybody, but it really can be. And so I was feeling so hyped up and high on it the next day that I sat down and recorded that video, just completely off the cuff, on why I prefer younger men. And it was only like 2 years later that video started to really gain traction. And all of a sudden I'm looking at the video and I was like, what? 20,000, 25,000, 50,000, 75,000, 100,000, 150. I'm like, what happened? That video just took off because so many younger guys are putting in the search younger men and older women, and my video was popping up.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay. So
that's when
that
it started. Was just a few years ago.
Yeah.
So that night you knew that next day you knew it was going to be a one night fling, or did you think there would be more out of it? I don't know how close you were together.
Oh
living.
yeah, I mean, look, I'm not delusional that I don't think that a 24-year-old that I was going to have any sort of relationship with him going forward.
Sure.
And he was from a different city in the state, and he was just down for the July 4th long weekend with some friends, and so none of it was boding for to continue on in any way. And we had the most incredible night together. We had, great sex. We had a long bubble bath together and lots more conversation. And it was just a delicious, amazing night. And I think it was like 2 or 3 in the morning where I said to him, you need to go, because the next day I had clients starting at like 9 or 10 in the morning. And I knew that I wouldn't sleep if he stayed for those last few hours. So that was the end of that. I left a signed copy of my book for him with the concierge when he left, and he wasn't waiting around for me either. He was off at the beach, with younger women and doing his thing. It wasn't as though we were pining for one another at all, but we both loved it, and we've had many conversations since. But yeah, it couldn't last for many reasons. And that was a beautiful thing. I love the uncertainty, the mystery, the romance about letting go of something when it's meant to be let go of. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So, but that goes back to your confidence of knowing when this is, let go. You got to go because I have tomorrow.
Yeah.
Clients, so you got to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that it's okay, that this is okay.
And it's okay.
That's what this is. Yeah.
And he knew it was done in such a way, and we'd had such an experience that he knew it wasn't a rejection. He knew that it was just had to happen that way. And we could have maybe carved out some time later on the following day before he left, but that wasn't our priority. Yeah. And so we were both able to just leave it and let it be. And it was so great. And I've had numerous experiences like that. I had a magnificent holiday romance in Marrakesh with a French surgeon that he lived in France. I lived here. He was a surgeon who traveled the world, and it wasn't going to be possible, but man, was it fantastic for both of us. And we continued conversing for a couple of years afterwards, just because we had recognized what a beautiful connection it was.
Yeah.
And but again, it's that beauty, intensity, and romance in something that cannot continue.
Yeah.
And I tell the story in my latest book, actually, that I'm busy writing, that it was interesting how it was years before that, also in North Africa, where I was in Tunisia, and the guide was a renowned guy who was a professor and just a very serious man, and he was married and all of that. And I was just super interested. Out of everybody else on our tour, I'd won the trip with the company that I worked for. I'd won it from my sales. And everybody else who was on the tour with me was just more interested in shopping. And I love history. So I was really fascinated by all the stories of the country, and I wanted to learn everything. So I was just like a sponge soaking it all up. And little did I know that was creating some sort of a feeling in him, my interest and so on. And so we get to the airport to leave, and everybody's filing past him and shaking his hand. And he's saying goodbye. And as I come up, he takes my hand and he says, "Jacquie, please wait aside with me." And so I'm standing next to him, and all the other people are filing through, looking at me like, "What are you doing?" And when the last person from the company had gone, he turned around, he held my hand with his right hand, and he takes his left hand, and he says to me as he beats his chest, he says, "You hit me like thunder."
Wow.
And I was like, what? And I'm in my 20s or whatever I think it was at the time. And the tears just welled up my face, because here I am about to go back to Canada. And here's this man telling me that I hit him like thunder, and the impact of that. And I thought, what do I do now? And the tears welled up my eyes, and I'm like, how do I leave this? It's like, how do I, without sort of, I don't know, I needed to honor his courage and him putting himself out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, oh, but we can stay in touch. We can see each other again, maybe. And he goes, no, we cannot.
Wow.
And I just, he just held my hand as I disappeared, like carried on holding my hand as I walked off, and then he let me go. And I arrive on the plane, and everybody is just staring at me, and the tears are pouring down my face. And they're all like, what happened? What happened? And I'm like, I told them the story. And everybody was in rapt attention, because everybody wants to be told at some point in their life, you hit me like thunder. Yeah. It was and that was way back when. And I think that was part of the start of my realization of, you can have this extraordinary connection with another human being, and it cannot continue. It doesn't make it wrong. In fact, it is beautiful and right and incredible. And it started me thinking on this whole thing of, we're all one. We're all one. And that love is not time dependent. Love can be love in an encounter like that. And that's just started to change the way I looked at everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think everybody yearns for that moment, and not many people get it.
No, of course not.
That's incredible. Hearing
and so it was so interesting that I'm back in North Africa having this experience in Marrakesh with the surgeon, and having to, after a beautiful romance, let go again. Yeah. And I felt like that was some sort of full circle moment.
Sure.
Hearing you tell these stories makes it obvious why you're a best-selling author. You're a fantastic storyteller.
Thank you, Pete.
And why you label yourself as a passion coach and not a dating coach, because your passion for your stories and living life is more important than dating.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And I'm a story liver and a storyteller, and I think it's finding passion, and it's sort of being a passionate person and being passionate about things, whatever it is, as you say, not only about romance and relationships. Passion is so important. It's where we access that hunger that drives us. It's where we access the desire to make something work. I've seen people give up on love all the time, but it's very hard to give up on passion. When you have passion, you don't walk away so fast from something when the going gets tough.
Right. And too many people associate the word passion with just sex, and it's not. Your passion is everything. Like we're passionate about this podcast. We try to give it our best on this thing, because we want this thing to work, and we love doing it. So I like that and a lot of the coaches that we've talked to, the coaching doesn't just apply to the, even dating, sometimes the dating coaching applies to it applies to other things.
Your life.
Yeah. So
it does, all of it. Yeah. But you guys are passionate about it. That's so great, because that's all you need. It's going to be, if you are passionate about it, it is going to be successful. It is just a matter of time. Yeah. It is. I mean, it just is.
Yeah. Well,
passion and positivity.
Yeah.
You got the positivity. I'll go with the passion. Well, the next time we'd love to have you back when the book you're working on is ready to go. If you want to come back and promote the book, I could listen to you tell stories for hours and hours and hours. But we don't like to keep people for too long. So,
well, I've loved it, and I would love to come back. And I've got questions for you guys, but I'm going to have to go and listen to some podcasts to learn, because I want to know more as well. But your audience probably already knows about you. So,
go ahead, check us out, subscribe, leave a comment. I'm just kidding.
I will do all of that. I will do all of that gladly. It's been really fun.
Yeah.
So before we let you go and promote all your stuff, and I appreciate it. I think we joked about it, but 100%. I think your class is what I should attend for myself and for my new journey.
Well, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say in the course, I actually do give some really great lines for bios on Tinder and such apps. So I do go into that. There's a PDF download with some examples and reasons why those work. Keep it short, keep it punchy, keep it interesting. Anyway, I go into that in the course. So it's got a lot of stuff for sure. I also have opened up some one-on-one coaching sessions. I've started to coach a lot of younger men as well who want more personal attention and don't want to just do it through an online course. So there is that option as well. I'll send that link to you guys.
Yeah, I was going to say,
if you've got any audience members that want that.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. I was going to say, I'd be remiss not to mention the fact that you have an OnlyFans, and it just goes to show you how wonderful of a storyteller you are, is that it took us an hour to even mention the fact that you have an OnlyFans. So
I wasn't sure whether you were even going to bring it up. I thought, well, maybe I would. No, that's great.
Well,
yeah, I do.
It's been sitting there. Like, do we? Yeah. My thought was, at what point did you have the confidence and your man to be like, yep, he's okay with that? And that's a tribute to him as well.
Oh, it really is. And he would rather I didn't actually. But but it's, it's, and who knows how much longer I'll do it for. I think it's been a wonderful experiment in my confidence in terms of, I really don't care what other people think anymore, which is a great place to get to in life. Mm-hmm. And I also think that the human body is a beautiful, amazing thing. And I don't know why. Well, I do know why. Religion and all sorts of weird things have made it this bad thing, just like sex. It's like, who are these morality police? It's got nothing to do with God and life, and nothing. And it's just been an exercise in thumbing my nose at the narrative of society and the judgments around these things. So it's been fun. And it's when TikTok really took off, and it was my gay best friend was like, you got to monetize this somehow. They were all asking if you've got OnlyFans. And I was like, what the heck is that? I didn't even know what it was. Okay. And he's like, come on, let's start OnlyFans. And at first it was just lingerie. And then I got naked. What can I say?
Why? Well, and why not? Hit it when the fire's hot, right?
I figured, if at 58 years old, you can reach the top 0.3% of OnlyFans, well, hey, why the heck not?
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, our most popular episodes are all with older, I put in
OnlyFans,
women. The episodes do great. So the market is there, and it's no surprise that you were, 0.03%.
Yeah. Well, I've dipped a bit since then, but at the peak, that's where I was. Because like you say, Instagram goes, whenever the social media stuff takes off, it takes off. And but anyway, it's been a really nice little money maker.
Yeah. And it seems like you're very active on it with, how often you post, and that's the best place to converse with you. If somebody wants to just chit chat with you, that's the place to go.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I don't answer the DMs because obviously, between Facebook and Instagram, there's like 200,000 people, and out of that, there's a lot of DMs, and so I don't answer them on there. But I do obviously answer them in OnlyFans because they're paying the subscription fee. And and I think if someone's going to be, I've got an incredible retention rate. It's like 80% or 75% of everybody who signs up stays, at least for a few months. And so part of that is because I post on a regular basis. I speak, on a personal basis. They feel like they've got a little closer to my life.
Sure.
And I did my first live on there the other day. So that was even more kind of intimate, where they got to ask me questions in real time and so on.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for answering our DM on Instagram, because without it, we wouldn't be here. We appreciate it.
Yes. Hey, well, did that come through? Was it Rachel no, it was through the other podcast that I did. How did you guys find me?
I think let's shout them out, because I think I watched you on Sex Party with Dustin Ripka.
Oh, Dustin's.
Yeah.
Yes, it was Dustin's podcast. That's right.
I'm not going to lie. Dustin can hear this. I follow his podcast for guest ideas. He has a lot of great guests. So
and he does a great job.
He does do a great job. Yeah.
He really does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. There's room for lots of great people out there for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, and there's no shortage. There shouldn't be any shortage of just getting your message out there to this, as many people as we can, as many people as he can. And we love cross promoting. We love just listening to interesting people. And you have just made our night wonderful.
Well, thank you, and vice versa, and just let me know, and I'll do some promoting when we're ready to go.
Love it. Tell them where to find you.
Yes, so you can find me. Everything is just Jacquie Somerville, Jacquie Somerville, just one M. And the website's JacquieSomerville.com. I'm Jacquie Somerville on Instagram. And if you go on Instagram, you'll find my link tree to all the other stuff. I'm Jacquie Somerville on OnlyFans. Basically, I own my name on pretty much everything. So
that's perfect. All right. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thanks so much, guys. You too.
Thank you for listening. The tavern is closed for now, but we'd love to have you back for more fun next time. Seriously, though, get your asses out of here.